Hey guys, this is Eliza and welcome back to a new video. So today we are talking about the top 10 books that I read in 2021. Let's just jump in. I'll start with the books that I own physically and then I'll talk about the ebooks that I read, audiobooks that I read, that I don't own a copy of. So firstly we have This Vicious Cure by Emily Suvada. This is the third book to This Mortal Coil, which is one of my all-time favorite series. I love it so freaking much. This is a YA dystopian, bordering on a little bit like an adult. It's a little bit gruesome, but I won't talk about this one specifically, but in book one, we follow a main character who is the daughter of a very famous gene hacker. And there is this disease that is spreading rampant all over the world. Yeah, it kind of relates to right now. But they believe that her dad might know a way to kind of save everyone, and he is kidnapped, and she's got to try and figure out what the hell is going on and survive because people are literally dying left, right and center. Most people are being moved down into bunkers. She's not. She's living on the surface, hiding out, trying to survive. This series utilizes a lot of like tech and stuff. Like it's a lot more advanced than like we are right now. Like people have implants where like you can install tech that affects your appearance or your capabilities and like that type of thing. So it's definitely a lot more up there than we are, but it is really, really fascinating. I really enjoyed it. It is intense. It is thrilling, edge of your seat, absolute chaos. There's a lot of plot twists, so if you're not the type of person that likes like plot twist after plot twist, not the book for you, but I love that because it keeps you on the edge of your seat, and loved this series. There is a fair bit of romance in it, especially books 2 and 3. It plays a pretty significant part in the plot, but it didn't bother me. As you guys may know, if you've watched literally any of my videos, I don't particularly like romance, but this one does feature it and I didn't mind it. Like it wasn't my favorite thing, but I didn't mind it. It didn't take away from the plot or anything like that. But yeah, book 3 made it to my top 10 this year. Then we have another sequel, and that is The Hawthorn Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the second book to the Inheritance games. I can't wait for the third book to come out this year, The Final Gambit. So freaking keen. But this is a contemporary mystery setting, and I love this so freaking much. But basically in book 1, this girl is just chilling, having a normal day at school. She gets called to the office. Her sister's there, who is her caretaker, and she's like, what the fuck is going on? And this bloke is there and tells her that she has to come with him to his house because she has inherited something, but they can't read the will until everyone that's in the will is present. And she's not there, so they have to wait for her. And they apparently have been trying to get in contact with her, but her sister just thought it was a scam because, you know, that type of shit sounds like a scam, especially the bloke they're talking about is worth millions. And it's basically trying to figure out why this random bloke left her money because she doesn't know the old guy. So why the hell did he leave her money? And it's the chaos that ensues, and it's like this massive kind of game. Like it definitely, this series gives me Truly Devious vibes. Like I'm not talking about the mystery that's the current mystery in Truly Devious. I'm talking about the Ellingham mystery. Like there was little secret things left, and he was like, he loved games and that type of thing. Like that's the vibe that this gives me as well. So really, really enjoyed it. Love that aspect. And book 2 was insane, and I can't wait for book 3. Like, where is it gonna go? And also I know something crazy is gonna happen because book 2 like fairly well rounded off. Like everything was kind of tied in like 3/4 of a bow. But like, so there's a whole other book coming. So what the fuck is gonna go down? That's what I would like to know. Next, we have The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. And this is it the first book in a series? I think this is a standalone. I'm pretty sure this is a standalone. But this one follows Clara, who is an Everwitch. So in this world, there is witches that control the seasons, and each witch is like, you know, dedicated to a specific season, and that's the season that they work with. Our main character, Clara, is an Everwitch, and she can control all the seasons. These witches help control like the weather, and the weather's getting more and more chaotic and more dangerous. People are getting hurt, and it's up to her to harness her powers so that way she can save everyone. And I actually really, really enjoyed it. It is such a unique and really intricate world, and considering it's only one book, like you get a lot out of it. I really, really enjoyed it. There is romance in it, but there's also really strong friendships and everything that's explored, and I just really, really enjoyed it, and I had a really good time reading it. So it made it to my top 10. Next, we have a graphic novel, and that is Treasure in the Lake by Jason Piment. So this one was kind of tossing up between this one and Heartstopper Volume 4, But I think Heartstopper Volume 4 is probably my least favorite out of the 4 so far. So I ended up going with Treasure in the Lake because I really enjoyed it. This is a middle grade. It's basically about these two characters that go on a journey, kind of, she's out camping or something, and she notices that the river, lake that was there yesterday is no longer there. So they start following the empty lake, and they end up finding this town that was hidden under the lake. I found this really, really fascinating. It's really fun. There's a little bit of mystery, there's a little bit of thrill trying to get out of this situation. I'm not gonna go into details, but yeah, really, really fun. I also really enjoy the art style. It's just really cute. And there is some little stories in the back about hidden cities kind of that are in the real, like, you know, actually happened. And one of them is actually in Australia. So I enjoyed that. So the next two are both sequels, and we have first The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson, which I will say is my top book of 2021. And funnily enough, the third book in the series, the one before this one, was my best book from last year. So this is the fourth book to the Truly Devious series. This one is kind of set in a different setting. It's still after the events of the Truly Devious trilogy, but it's set in a different setting after the fact. And it does have the same characters, but it's a whole different mystery, everything like that. Like the Ellingham case is kind of wrapped up and everything. And then we go on another mystery. So if you don't know, Truly Devious, the first book in the trilogy, follows Stevie, who loves true crime investigating, and she wants to go to this school. There's this like elusive kind of school that you have to be accepted into, and you have to have something unique about you to get accepted. And there's a mystery surrounding that school because there was a disappearance slash murder slash event that happened years back with the owner and his wife and his daughter. And it was never solved. No one ever figured it out, but Stevie's determined to figure it out. So she applies to the school, gets accepted, and is determined to solve the Ellingham case. While she's at school though, another case comes up that is a current one. So she is now trying to solve that case, but also the previous one, and wondering if they're somehow connected. I love mystery, and I especially love the trope where you're following one mystery from the past, one mystery from the current. You're trying to figure out if they're related, trying to solve both of them. I love that aspect for some reason, and Truly Devious does it amazingly. Definitely love this one, and this is the best book I read in 2021. So next we have The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon. This is the fourth book to the Bone season, and this, I'm not even going to try and explain this world because it is intense. It is so freaking in depth. Like Samantha Shannon, her world is just so fucking in depth, and there is no way for me to explain it in this video. But in book one, we follow our main character Paige, and basically in this world we have the normal people and then we have the clairvoyants. The clairvoyants are hunted down and killed, basically. Paige obviously is a clairvoyant. She is trying to fight back against this system. She gets kidnapped and ends up in this clairvoyant camp where they're keeping all these clairvoyants, only to discover that it's being run by another race that is not from this planet. And they are the Rephim, and they feed off the clairvoyant as well as are trying to build them. You use them for their army. So they're trying to control them and everything. A lot of political intrigue. There's a lot of behind the scenes politics because the clairvoyants kind of have their own political system. Plus there's the actual like Scion London. I really, really love this world. I love these characters. I love Paige so much, the main character. There's also a character called Eliza, which is my name. So, you know, really, really enjoy this series. Can't wait for the next book in the series. I think there's meant to be 7, I believe. I waited for this one so freaking long because Samantha Shannon wrote Priory of an Orange Tree, or published Priory of the Orange Tree, between Song Rising and this one. So I had to wait a long time for this book, and I'm really hoping the next one won't be that far away. So now on to the ebook slash audiobooks, and firstly we have Missperval and the Blue Fire Crystal. Let me move over so I can put it on the screen. Oh my god, this series is so freaking good. I read both books. I believe there's meant to be a third book, but there's no discussion about it actually coming out, and it's been a couple years since book 2 came out, so I'm not 100% sure if the series will ever be finished. But it is an ebook series. I don't believe they're in print at all. It is so freaking good. It is so humbling. I love it so much. But basically this story follows a grandma, Missperval, who turns out being the chosen one in this story, which we need more dragon riding badass grandmas being chosen ones. We need that more. It is amazing. She goes on this adventure with her butler, whose only priority is make sure she takes her meds on time, and also her 7 cats. and it is just so wholesome. It's so emotional, like the shit goes down and you're like, this is so sad, but it's also so wholesome and so loving, and I cried and I laughed and it was just amazing. Book 1 was better than book 2 in my opinion, but I still love it both so much. That is my dog eating a bone. But this series is just so freaking good. I highly recommend it. It's on ebook. It's not that expensive. Go and check it out. I'll leave it linked down below. It is so good. Next we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is the first book in a series. I did read all 3 in the trilogy, but the first book was my favorite. The third one was probably my least favorite. I didn't love where that went, but I understood why it went that way. So this book follows Pippa, and there was a murder 5 years ago and the police are sure who it was. That person is dead, but they are 100% that that is who it was. There was no doubt per se. She never believed it. And she starts to uncover things that somebody in town does not want revealed. So she's led to believe that the killer is still out there. So this one is a YA crime thriller, and I really, really enjoyed it. There was also like a podcast type aspect as well, which I really enjoyed. I listened to this one on audiobook, which was a really good method in order to listen to this because of that podcast type thing. It includes interviews and stuff. Really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. As I said, I love a previous crime, current crime situation, which is exactly what that one is, because there's the current, well, someone trying to keep her quiet, plus there's the original crime, which was 5 years ago. Right into that trope that I love. I just really, really enjoyed it. It was really good and I highly recommend the audiobook. So next, second last, we have I Killed Zoe Spanos by Kit Frick. And this is a book that stuck with me for a long time. I still think about it. It still fucks me up a little bit. So this one is a psychological thriller, I think you would call it. But basically Anna moves to this small town to do a nannying job, and it's meant to be a fresh start for her. She finds out a local girl has gone missing called Zoe, and Anna fairly well resembles Zoe, like in appearance, like she's pretty close. And as she starts looking into it, she believes that there must be some connection between them and that she understands how she died. 2 months later, Zoe's body is found and Anna is arrested for manslaughter. But the problem is Anna's story that she tells the police, that it's full with holes. Like, it doesn't make 100% sense. There's things that just don't add up. So the question is, did Anna really kill Zoe Spanos? This one has so many twists and turns. It is absolutely insane. Like I said, it stuck with me for a little while, but I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, full of twists and turns, which I love. We also had dual timelines which I will say was a little bit confusing at the start, but it is following Anna during the arrest, that time frame, plus Anna when she moves like earlier on. So be aware of that, but that was a little bit hard to follow at the very beginning, but once I got into it, it was fine. Really, really enjoyed it, and also highly recommend the audiobook. It is really well done. There is also like a kind of, was it a podcast? I can't remember. There was another character that did this thing about Zoe, like trying to figure out who killed her, and that's in there, which is really good on audiobook. Actually, I just realized I own this one. So lastly, we have All the Tides of Fate by Adeline Grace. This is the second book to All the Stars and Teeth, and honestly, like, I enjoyed All the Stars and Teeth, but it wasn't an absolute favorite. This one was amazing. I was left crying at the end of it. It is absolutely incredible. So All the Stars and Teeth follows, what is her name? Amora. And she is the princess of Visidia. And to prove herself and to become queen, she must prove her mastery of soul magic, which is her magic that everyone in the royal family has. And she has to do a demonstration to prove it and prove her control, and something goes wrong. So she is left to flee, otherwise she would have had to been killed. And she teams up with a pirate and they are on a quest to get his magic back because his magic has been stolen, as well as save her kingdom from another dark magic that has come up in the other islands. She believes that her magic is the thing that will solve this problem, and she has to prove that to herself and save the kingdom in order to eventually, hopefully, take the throne. I really, really enjoyed this. I love these characters so much. I had a lot of fun reading it and it was very emotional. It's very thrilling. It was very intense. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of plot twists. I really, really enjoyed it. And this world is so vivid. And this is the second book in a duology. So it's the end of the series. There is no more, unfortunately, but it is duology. So it's easy to get through. You only have 2 books to read. So that is my top 10 books that I read in 2021. Let me know what your favorite book was that you read in 2021. Obviously mine was The Box in the Woods. It was absolutely amazing. And I really hope Maureen Johnson releases another book in that series. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and I will see you in my next one.